Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Oh, yeah, this is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I am here with...
Man, that Jeopardy music playing.
Oh, there you go. I'm here with Jeopardy Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? Oh, Jeopardy, Joel. Nice.
Yes.
So I'm just full of knowledge.
Yes, you are a question. All right. Today, we're going to talk about a brand new film, Antlers.
Yes.
Joel, can you tell us who's in it?
All right. So this one stars Carrie Russell. She was in. I went pretty far back for this. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, which was her first movie that she ever did.
Wow. I blew up the kid?
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. That was like the third movie in that series.
Well, yeah, it was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And then Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves. And then Honey, I Blew Up.
It was Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Such a classic.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah. Oh man, had this dynamite handy, and I just blew up the kid. She was also in Bedtime Stories, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and people probably know her most as Felicity in her 90s show Felicity. That she had. Also Jesse Plemons, he's Paul, the brother. He was in Game Night. I love that movie. That movie's so funny.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah.
There's like 60 plus episodes in that show. And The Irishman, which is another very long but good movie.
Yeah.
Then we got Jeremy T. Thomas, JTT. He is Lucas. He these are only like episodes that he was in, because he really wasn't in any actual movies. But The Righteous Gemstones, one episode of that. Your Worst Nightmare, which is a TV series documentary. He was in one episode of that.
Okay.
And Lore, which is also a TV series documentary. One episode of that.
All right.
And this was written by Henry Chasen, the screenplay. He wrote one episode of Servant, or Servant. I don't remember. I think that's that M. Night show that he did.
Yeah, Servant.
Yeah. Breaker, which was a short, and The Anniversary, which is also a short. And then we've got Nick Antosca. He did the screenplay and also the author of the short story, The Quiet Boy, which is what this was based on. So it's cool when they get, when they get the actual like author of a story that was that you're basing your story on to actually come and do it is always a good thing. He wrote The Cottage, The Forest, and this creator of a Netflix show that I've been wanting to check out, Brand New Cherry Flavor.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a horror show. And then we got Scott Cooper. He did the screenplay, and he wrote Crazy Heart, Out of the Furnace, and Hostels. And this was directed by Scott Cooper, and he directed Crazy Heart, Out of the Furnace, and Black Mass.
All right.
So
cool.
Got a couple of good ones in there. I like Crazy Heart. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah.
So, synopsis. In an isolated Oregon town, middle school teacher and her sheriff brother become embroiled with her enigmatic student whose dark secrets whose dark secrets lead to terrifying encounters with an ancestral creature. Embroiled.
Confused with charbroiled, but embroiled.
Sometimes the words that they choose for these are
I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we'll talk about what we thought of it, give it a grade, and then we'll go into some spoilers. So, what was your overall opinion on this one?
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot. There was quite a bit to the story than just kind of what the previews showed.
Yeah.
This was also one of our most anticipated of 2020.
Yours.
It was one of mine. I think it was actually like top 10, not even like an honorable mention. But I was actually, I don't even know if I think they had showed one trailer for this movie.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And it looked intense. It looked, the trailers for this movie did a good job of not giving away the whole story. Yeah. But also making it so that it looks good to want to see it. Yeah. And so it kind of made it seem like it was going to be just like a creature feature, just like, as creatures attacking people and that's about it. So from the trailer, it didn't really seem like there was a whole lot to the story. Yeah. But still got me interested in wanting to see it. So, the movie itself is better than the trailers, which is always a good thing. But, it is technically a creature feature, but there's also, some relationship stuff under the surface of this movie. I liked how it just took off from the very first scene of the movie. Right. Like he's going into this old mine and then all hell breaks loose basically. Right. You don't see what happens in there, but you hear it. Mm-hmm. And I liked how it just started right out the gate. Yeah. The acting was really good from everybody. Yeah, I like the story. The acting is just overall it was a very solid horror movie. And I don't know how much I should we're gonna have a spoiler section, right? Yeah. At the end of this. Yeah. We'll talk about that more. Okay. But overall it was a solid movie.
So I really liked all the characters, all the acting. I liked the tone. It was a pretty dark movie. A lot of the themes that were going on was pretty intense. Some of the backstory of some of the kids, or it's not some of the kids, but some of the characters. Carrie Russell, I always like her. I always think she's pretty good in everything she does. And I'm seeing that other guy, I can't remember his name, but I feel like I'm seeing him more and more and stuff.
Yeah, he's becoming more and more of a. He can do comedy, he can do drama type of stuff. So I've liked him. So I don't even remember what the first thing I saw him in. He was in, I think, like a full season's worth of Breaking Bad. So that might have been.
Oh, really?
I saw him in first. Yeah. and he's always been a solid like secondary actor.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been like a primary, like the main protagonist of anything.
Right.
But he's good as the secondary character for sure.
Yeah.
In the stuff that he's in.
The effects were all pretty good. I did like it. Sometimes with these monster movies, it can get kind of silly.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I liked it. There was one scene where, well, we'll talk about that later. There's one scene in particular where the effects are like pretty intense, and then I'm like, like, oh my god. So yeah, the effects, there was that one scene that was really wild, which we can talk about a little later.
Yeah. It's probably the same, but there was one scene that like really made me jump. Like,
oh yeah, there was a good jump scare for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got me for sure. Some of the way it was filmed was really cool. There was a part specifically where a couple of characters are driving somewhere, and it's like an overhead shot, and it's in the night, so there aren't really any lights, but the car headlights, and so you can see their car driving, and you can just see the trees on each side of them, but it's an overview shot, so it just looks like a car driving in darkness. It looked really cool, and you could kind of see like the silhouettes of the trees on the sides, but yeah, I remember, and that was toward the end of the movie. I remember thinking that looked awesome. There is one thing with the monster that I didn't really like. Basically no, the way to defeat him. I don't know. Didn't really like it. Thought it was kind of, I don't know, something we've seen before, you know?
Yeah.
It you know what it reminded me of actually is like a Resident Evil boss. Like like there's a certain area you have to shoot. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, and
it's always like the most obvious spot.
Yeah.
I may not know. Maybe it's because I don't know much of this lore, but I don't understand why his stomach area is glowing. We can go into that when we talk about spoilers more. Yeah, but it was weird from the beginning of this whole story that his whole chest area is just glowing. Yeah, like okay, that all right. I guess that's something.
Yeah. I did like that the movie didn't focus too much on the monster.
Yeah, no, it didn't really. We didn't see it that much.
Yeah, in the movie. I feel like it wasn't so much of a focus. They didn't they gave us a little bit of a backstory, but not much. It didn't become the primary focus, and obviously it is a focus because that's what the movie is kind of centered around. But all the other stuff that's going on is what's more of the focus of the movie. And I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a pretty good backstory on her.
Yeah. And the boy
story. Yeah. And it does a good job of focusing on the horror aspect of the movie, but also at the same time the relationships and the drama of the characters. I thought did a really good job with that. So
yeah. Oh, and the little boy, his acting was incredible.
Yeah,
he was so good.
He was really good.
Yeah,
yeah. He needs to be in more stuff. When I was mentioning 1 episodes of shows, it's that's really all he's done besides this movie. And hopefully this movie is what puts him on the map. But
yeah, he was great.
This is going to be an overlooked movie.
Yeah.
I really don't think too many people are going to see this movie for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and it came out the same day as Last Night in Soho.
Yeah.
a week, 2 weeks after Halloween Kills. I don't know. I don't know if it was a good time to put it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Halloween, it's a good time, but
yeah.
I don't know with the other two that could kind of take the tickets away. So
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so yeah, my only real negative is the monster, how you can defeat him, and some of the design of the monster when you see the full on monster.
Yeah.
Was kind of it was all right.
Yeah, I would. As far as like negatives go, I'd probably say the monster as well, but not even. They did a good job with not really showing the monster that much in this movie, so it was more a mystery.
Yeah.
For the most part, until you get to like the climax of the movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
The last 30 minutes or so is when you really see the monster. Was that was definitely CGI. I think that was a mix of CGI and practical.
Sure. Yeah, I could see
pretty sure.
Some prosthetics going on.
And yeah, I could definitely see some practical in that, and I'm glad that they didn't go full on CGI with this.
Yeah.
Because it could have looked very cartoony.
Yeah.
A lot more than it did. So I was thankful for that. But yeah, some of the design of the creature was a little iffy to me as well. But it's hard. It's really hard to do a creature effect for a horror movie. If you're gonna have a monster movie, you have to expect a little cheesiness with the design and everything.
Yeah.
As long as everything else is good, like the acting, the atmosphere, everything else, the story is good, I can overlook some of the
for sure,
some of the bad creature effects.
Yeah. What'd you think of the ending? Without going too deep into that, but
so I mean, there's a couple things with the ending. Are you talking about like the very, very end of the movie?
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to say this without like going into spoiler territory because it.
Well, how about did you like it or
have,
not?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I did like the end. If we're talking about the same stuff.
Yeah, I liked it too. It left the movie ended with kind of an open ending.
It did, but at the same time, it's one of those that you don't have to have a sequel to.
Oh no,
at the same time,
for
like,
sure.
It's not really open ended. It is a little bit to the point that if they wanted to make another one, they could. But at the same time, it's a pretty open shut story. At the same time, so yeah. So you just, if they don't make a sequel, then just let your minds figure out what happened.
Right. No,
at that point.
I like movies that do that. I like that. So I was happy that there was something there at the end.
Yeah.
I always like that kind of stuff rather than just this perfect happy ending.
Yeah. It definitely left it open there. There wasn't, a completely happy ending to it. But yeah. So it was, I like that ending.
Cool.
So,
all right, let's grade it.
So I'm going to give this one an 88.
Okay.
I'd say. Yeah.
Very nice. I'm going 86.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, we're watching some good movies, man.
We are. Yeah. we need to just like watch some bad movies. I wanna just intentionally bad movies just to see what we.
Yeah. Well, we were gonna start doing Texas Chainsaw, but we don't know when that new one's coming out, so we're kind of on hold.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's coming out next year, but I have no idea when.
Yeah. Same with Jeepers Creepers. We'll eventually have to watch the third one. So that'll probably get get a good negative review. And
straight to sci-fi.
Straight to sci-fi
release. Didn't even make it to theaters, not even for a little bit. So that's gonna be fun.
Not even like on demand or like
no,
you know,
it was straight to Sci-Fi Channel.
Straight to Sci-Fi. That's like the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, to be fair though, the Chucky series also is on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, but that's a series.
But it's also like USA is a part of it too.
Yeah,
like USA and Sci-Fi, so it's kind of. But Jeepers Creepers is straight to Sci-Fi, so that's gonna be a fun one.
We'll also be doing the Chucky movies. There's a couple of those that aren't very good, so we'll get to talk about that.
Those are hit and miss for the most part.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, Seed of Chucky. I mean, we'll have a good time with that.
Doesn't get better than that one.
we should
that's
have
like the holy resurrection of the Chucky movies.
Yeah.
I think they came out similar times too.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so for a little bit of spoiler talk. So
yes,
the ending, we can talk about that a little bit. So it shows the little boy and Carrie Russell and her brother, and they're at like the river or some lake or something, and he's kind of playing in the water. And then she's like, okay, it's time to go. And then he comes over to her and she like wipes something off of his face.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, you know, I'm like, okay, she didn't really make anything of that. It just seemed like maybe he got some dirt on him or something. But that is a sign of when you're going to become the next monster. That's what the other people were seeing was happening to them. And then her brother, you know, he starts to have it coming out of his nose, right? It's not blood. It's like this like black mud dirt stuff.
Yeah, it's like
oil. It's like oil.
So I'm confused with the whole, like, I don't want to say lore of this, but so can there only be one at a time?
It seems like maybe. Yeah.
Because what happened to the first one that attacked the dad?
Well,
I'm pretty sure they didn't kill it.
I think it needs to latch on to somebody. So I think the monster went into the dad. And then
it wasn't a monster that was hunting them then? Because, I mean,
well,
yeah, it needs to go into the into like the body, but
yeah, there
was also a creature that was hunting them.
Yeah.
In that mine in the beginning.
Right. So
does that creature disappear?
I guess I don't know. I don't really know how the creature can go into somebody and then like be gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't
really
know. And it didn't really give a ton of explanation.
Yeah, they didn't
of the backstory, but I just know that it can kind of go from person to person, it seems like. And it like takes over that person and kind of turns them into the monster.
What's the name of that creature? Because it is a creature of myth.
Yeah, it's a Native American folklore.
Yeah.
But the scene that I was talking about that was like really intense was when the dad was really starting to change, and he's like in the attic or one of the rooms upstairs, and he's just like stuff's like coming out of his mouth and like
the Wendigo. Yeah.
So that scene, I was like, oh my gosh, this is intense.
Yeah, that scene was pretty intense.
And it was longer.
And then,
it was like a longer, like the transition. I don't even know if I want to say it was a transition he was going through, but like, I don't know, all this stuff was happening to him and it just kept going and going. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think if he was up there longer, he could have beaten it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that the principal came and visited the home, is when he fully transformed into the Wendigo.
Yeah.
So he needed a body to, I guess, to eat.
Yeah.
I don't even. And then at that point is when he'd become like the creature itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I'm like, because I'm trying to like figure all this stuff out. Because there was 2 guys in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
One of them got just ripped in half. Half of them was like in the forest. The other half was still in the mine. So if he was, that's why I was confused as to like, can there only be one Wendigo at a time? So I was thinking that maybe there was the original Wendigo, and then it would work like vampires. Like, you know, you can become a Wendigo yourself if you're like attacked by one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Kerry Russell killed the Wendigo at the end there, and then that's when it went into the son.
Yeah.
And then he was turning as well. Why didn't he kill his son in the attic area? If he, because he wasn't. I don't even know why he was even in there, because he wasn't even turning.
No, he said he was getting sick, and he was having these urges to kill them, and so he told the boys to put him in there and lock it.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to hurt them.
Yeah, but why was the little brother in there?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
He wasn't. He wasn't turning. His chest wasn't glowing.
I can't remember now. I want to say that the little brother was starting to say that he was sick, or the dad like noticed something about him and told him to like have him in here with me because he's getting sick. It did seem like he was turning a little bit, the little boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was, especially when the dad was killed.
Yeah.
Like that's when it went into him.
Yeah.
But I feel like as long as the dad was still alive in the attic, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm not sure. There's definitely some questions, which again, the monster was not really the focus though, which is why this is not like such a negative thing. You know, typically if the movie had this many questions, I'd be like, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't like that important. The whole lore and everything was not what this movie was about.
It was just part of the story, but it wasn't like the full story.
Yeah, it wasn't really what it was about. It was about the characters and all their dynamics and backstory and stuff. So so typically this would like really bother me, but I don't really care that much that there isn't all these answers.
And I mean, it's not realistic to have the answers to. I mean, it's the same. Same with like really any movie that's focusing on like one or a couple of characters. Like, if they're not going to get the answers, then we're not going to get the answers. Yeah. It's just like it's just how it goes. Like it's you're seeing the movie through the eyes of a couple of people,
right? And
the Wendigo is. It goes back like centuries, like the myth and the lore of the Wendigo.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I guess you could have the characters really dig deep into the lore, but they don't really. I mean, that's not really a focus. Like, the movie's called Antlers. It's the creature had antlers, but that's not really.
Yeah.
That wasn't what the movie was about.
Right. I hope they don't make another one. I feel like this is just a really good one-time movie. Might ruin and I guess it's kind of like a good thing that it didn't. I feel like this movie came out in a bad time. Yeah.
For it, because I mean, if it made like $100 million, they probably would have made another one.
Yeah.
But and it's also like the times we're living in right now. Like, people aren't really going to the movies. that often still. And so yeah, it kind of sucks that more people probably aren't going to see this movie, but at the same time, it's kind of good. I'm kind of glad, because that, means that we're probably not going to get a sequel.
Right.
And which I'm totally fine with, just having this be a one-off.
Yeah.
Because it's a good story. It's a good one-off story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Then you start, once you get deeper into sequels, you kind of can start spreading the characters a little thin. And then it's not about the characters anymore. It's about the monster. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that. I want this to stay how it is. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. This one, we gave it in the high 80s. So, this one might make a top 10 list at the end of the year. We're not too far away.
Could. Yeah. We're 2 months away from the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, which is just crazy to think of. And we don't really have too many more horror movies coming out.
Yeah. No. All right. Yeah. Start getting your list ready and start getting your anticipated list ready.
Yeah.
That's next year.
List. I don't even know what's coming out next year. I have no clue.
Well, Halloween ends.
Well, yeah. One movie.
That'll be my number one, most likely.
Yeah.
All right.
And Jeepers Creepers 4, I guess that's going to come out next year.
Evil Dead.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Evil Dead.
Evil Dead Rises or something.
Yeah.
The Rise of the Planet of the Evil Dead.
Yeah. No original story. It's just all sequels and...
Yeah. All right.
And that's another thing with this movie, too. I mean, it is based off of a book, but for the most part, it is an original story.
Yeah.
Like, it's, it's not something that's already based on another existing movie or, title or something.
Yeah.
I like when they make stories, they make movies based off of like books and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when the author is involved in the movie itself.
Right. Yeah, they can do it justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, this was overall a very good movie.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Well, that is it. This has been our episode on Antlers.
Sleep tight.
Don't let the Wendigo bite.
Oh.